young, fresh minds of the future. And I have one question from you all, because you have just come from the training. You all have now seen a transformer and distribution transformer. What is the impedance, percentage impedance of a transformer? Anybody? They have written that? Yes. Percentage impedance of a distribution transformer of 400 kV. Yeah. Yeah. About 4% or 5%. Right? Now, if you assess the fault level at the LV side, you can replace this transformer of 1 pu, and if you assume infinite bus at the 33 kV level, this impedance is going to be 0, and then you have the transform impedance, and transform impedance is we'll say 0.05. And if a fault occurs here, 1 over 0.05 in the IFPU per unit, and 400 kVA, and is the actual IF. So it's 20 over root 3, about 12 kA in the transformer LP side fault capacity. Right? This is assuming infinite bus as a kV. So it is going to be less than kA. So just to refresh your minds and just to show you, there are things that you can think about transformers, and there are so many important aspects that you have to learn about the transformer. So we'll get along with the transformer and its protection. So the first picture was okay, the large transformer transport on a rail track, and this one gives you okay transformer components. Okay, I was watching whether I have a pointer. Okay, now relief diaphragm over here, pressure relief diaphragm, right? This is no longer there in transformers. Old transformers have that type of pressure relief device, which has a diaphragm inside it, and when there is a pressure, what happens is, okay, the diaphragm breaks and transformer vomits, right? It is sick. So that is no longer there. Instead of that, you have a pressure relief device, so that when there is a pressure, it releases and then it can close out again. Now, that is also called an explosion wind, and that is the conservator tank. And conservator tank tells us oil level gauge. We'll go into other slides. I'll show you how what an oil level gauge looks like. And then again, on this one you have Buchholz, which is not given here. Okay, vacuum valve. You can have a valve with a vacuum pump, you can vacuum it inside. And sometimes you may have a fire detector on large transformers and windings and all and so on. Those are the components. Now, yeah, all right, okay, okay, fine. So this is inside the transformer. Number one, coke without the winding, and number two, LV winding, which is on the next slide. I'll show you on next slide. HV winding is number 3. I'll show you that also in next slide. Tapped winding, number 4. Yeah, we'll go to the other one. Tap leads, LV bushings, and number 6 is LV bushings here. Number 7 is HV bushings, and on-load tap changer is here, and motor drive for on-load tap changer. This is the motor drive, number 10, and transformer tank is number 11, and conservator, will go to the next slide, and radiators are here. These are the radiators. Okay? Now those are the components. Here we have missed LV bushings is here, and number 5, tapped leads, that is coming out from the winding and goes into the tap changer. And these are the HV bushings and LV bushings. This is the conservator tank, and this is the Buchholz relay. Okay. Now, this is how a transformer, large transformer, put onto a low bed trailer and ready for transporting. Now here, if you see, you have the flanges. Those are closed with the end taps. The radiators can be fixed onto those flanges, and ties and all okay. And now that is not very important. Now here, some transformers of distribution type. Now distribution transformer, on that corner you have corrugated sheet, and with whatever the pressure down. This transformer has a explosion vent, okay, the pressure relief device, right? And it can also release the pressure with that. Also, it can bulge when there is a inside pressure because of the corrugated sheet body. And this is a transformer that is called dry type transformer, right? Normally dry type transformers are put on housings, enclosures, right? So those enclosures would have certain IP ingress protection level. So this one has IP21. That means you can put a finger through this, and here IP31, you can put only a screwdriver, 12mm device into that. Now 1 and 1 indicates water dripping. So if water drips onto that, there's no problem. That's what it means, the second digit. Okay, now that is called the ingress protection level, IP level. So IP level goes on to, okay, totally dust protected and totally water protected. So the submersible pump would have IP 68. So 6 means, first digit means dust protected, and second digit means water protected. Water can't go into that. So I'm coming to some transformers. Those are single phase and two phase, right? Now if you look at this diagram, you have two phase transformer over there and single wire earth return transformers over there, right? That is called single wire earth return, SWER. You are taking only one single wire and distributes with single phase transformers, right? In Sri Lanka, you can't see this anywhere. Now, these pictures are what we have done under ADB projects in Vietnam, right? In Australia, you get SWER, single wire earth return. When you have very low house densities, number of houses are very low and it's far away from sources, these SWER systems are used, right? So in Australia and in USA and various other places in various other countries where there are remote places like farms remotely and all that, you have single wire earth return systems are used. These are the pictures of some single wire earth return, and this round like thing is a single phase transformer. And you might see here on LT you have 3 phases, not 3 phases exactly, 2 phases, that means, and a neutral, that means it's center tapped. So plus 230 and minus 230. So 230 and neutral, whichever, it goes to whatever houses you have 230 supply. So those are the systems used in various other countries, and that is it. Now we'll think about transportation of large transformers. Have I missed one slide? No. Yeah, transportation of large transformers. When the large transformer is shipped, it comes from the factory to the port and it goes on to the ship, and again it comes to Colombo port, maybe, right? And with the Colombo port, with their cranes, it's put onto low bed trailers or trailers again. So in this process, if it gets a bad shock, if somebody is going to drop it on the low bed trailer or on the sea floor or wherever, on the dock or wherever, right? If the transformer is damaged, you never know, right? Transformer body is not damaged,
but inside parts, maybe the windings, core, this, that and all can be damaged. Now, first of all, you fix a recorder, shock recorder on the transformer, and it's transported, and if the shock recorder shows bad shocks with its recording, right, then it should go on a test to ensure the mechanical integrity of the transformer is not affected. Now, occurrence of shocks above these limits. Occurrence of shocks above these limits are the things that is taken into consideration, and it is not direct indication of damage to the transformer. Now, SFRA can be performed to assure the mechanical integrity. SFRA is what? Sweep frequency response analysis, right? So, there is a fingerprint for the transformer. Okay, that means sweep frequency analysis, certain, certain, this thing is what you call, the plot is available. So, if it differs, there should be something wrong. Now, see, detecting faults with SFRA, winding faults, deformation, displacement, short circuits, and correlated faults, movement, grounding, screens, whatever, and mechanical faults like clamping structures, connections, and more, buckling of windings, and if the mechanical integrity is not there, it would be indicated by, so these are some pictures of, damages. The mountings and then windings and so on and on. Now, SFRA test is indicated here. So, how that is connected to the measurement over there, and this one, large deviations between phases for LV, low voltage side, or the MV or whatever, the secondary side. At low frequencies, so this part is low frequencies, this part is high frequencies, frequency versus the magnitude of dB. So, if these deviations are there, indicates changes in magnetic circuit, core defects. So that means if you have this sort of deviations in low frequencies, definitely that indicates the core defects. Now, I don't know whether it is clear to you. Time-based comparison example, and obvious distortion as by missing core ground. The problem is missing core ground. Now, after repair, that shows exactly like that. It doesn't deviate. So, when I put the connections for the test, if you have bad connections, this high frequency side goes apart. Now, good connection is again comes like this. So, transformer winding buckling fault is these frequencies, it gives you the histogram apart. Now, this is the fault, buckling of the windings because of the shock. Okay, that is SFRA, that is swift frequency analysis. Swift frequency response analysis. So, okay, now here you can see the conservator tank and radiators and HV bushings and MV bushings here and radiators again, transformer tank, and this is the tap changer drive, motor drive, and tap changer is somewhere here, and this also has a book holes somewhere here, and so on. Pressure relief device on the top of the transformer. So this is again a transformer in one of the substations. Here, if you see, the book holes release somewhere here, and you have got fans over here on the radiator. Now, while you were under training, if you have now you all have taken pictures of the nameplates, right? Now 31.5 MVA transformer, it gives 23 MVA stroke 31.5 MVA. What does this mean? Now that means without the transformer, without the fans, you can load up to 23, and then fans starts automatically. Then you can go up to 31.5 MVA. Transformer types, dry type. We have seen a dry type transformer on one of the slides, and then mineral oil filled transformers are there. Okay, what we have everywhere in the distribution systems and our substations and everywhere. Now, synthetic oil filled transformer. So, silicon oil is a synthetic oil. So, silicon oil is a better option. It doesn't catch fire, but the problem is you can hear, no? Problem is it's expensive, and PCB filled is banned, right? In substations, in Pandipiti substations or wherever you have gone, on the nameplate, somewhere closer to the nameplate, there is a label done by asset management of CB saying no PCBs, PCB-less of no PCBs or something, right? They have checked for PCBs, and PCBs are not there, is assured, because PCBs are that has a health hazard, cancerous, and PCBs polychlorobenzenes. polychlorobenzenes, those are not decomposing at all. Yeah, it can be burned at 1200 degrees centigrade, not under that, right? So if you want to dispose of PCB, you have to send it abroad where they have facilities to decompose that, okay, burn that, right? So to my knowledge, there were PCB transformers at Steel Corporation previously, and I maintain two station transformers of PCB film long time back. That was 1980s, or yeah. At Cadnetissa. So those were later on disposed. So no more PCBs are there in Sri Lanka, putting people into health hazards. So oil-filled transformers, there are seal tanks and conservator systems. Now, some are with seal tanks without conservator, some are with conservator, and those are not sealed. Then you have to have a silica gel breather. And then with some transformers are there with nitrogen blanket. Those are normal tanks with nitrogen column. So when there is a sudden pressure, what happens is the air compressibility is there to take up the pressure. So dry type transformers are with varnished coils and resin cast windings. What we have seen in one of the previous slides are resin cast dry type transformer, and this one is a resin cast transformer dry type. Now, inside the building, are you allowed to put a mineral oil filled transformer? You are not, because that has combustibles. The transformer oil burns easily and it can catch fire and damage the building. So you are not supposed to put a oil-filled transformer inside a building. But in Colombo, there are many installations with oil-filled transformers in the basement. Now, if you go to fish restaurants just by the side of Liberty Cinema, right? It has a basement. So when I went to the transformer room in the basement, I was wondering how the transformer was taken in. There's no enough room to take the transformer in. Now, at the time of the construction, they have put the transformer from the top and then they have put the slab. Right? So, if it catch fires, so we will be baked like the fish. So be careful when you go into places like that. Now, modern places like the Colombo city center, they have dry type transformers. And definitely the Twin Tower has dry-type transformers. And most of the modern buildings has dry-type transformers, but not old buildings. Old buildings always has the oil-type transformers, leaving a fire danger at such places. Okay, now these are some important things that you have to go through, and here it gives something called BIL. So I was asking my students always who has come for training, what is BIL? Because I was a student like you, because I didn't know what is BIL, Professor Karunaratne wanted me to go out of the class, right? So how many are there to remain inside, qualified to remain inside? So what is BIL? Don't know. Now it's very simple, right? Very simple and also very important. I asked the same question from the guys who were with me on training. We normally, when I have little time, I'm normally busy. When I have little time, we have a certain period called, I call the trainees, you engineers normally, PETAU. Engineering PETAU. Right? So, the session is called PETAU Madavan. Right? So, they also didn't know what is BIL. So, BIL is just simple, and that is the withstand voltage of insulation. Right? Now, a transformer will take from low voltage, MV, low voltage 400 volts, and MV 11 kV and 33 kV, and HV 132 kV and 220 kV. Now, these volts, these kV, 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 kV. Now, each insulation of equipment, you take transformer or just a post insulator or whatever, that has a withstand value of impulse withstand and power frequency withstand. Right? So, impulse withstand of LV generally is 2.5 kV impulse. Right? And power frequency, 2.5 kV power frequency and about 8 kV to 10 kV impulse. Right? So that means withstand value of a LV transformer for how long? Remember, power frequency is always for 1 minute or second. 1 minute. Right? So power frequency is for 1 minute. And impulse is for how long? If somebody can tell me. So impulse has a standard waveform of 1.2 microseconds and half decay is 40 microseconds. This is IEC standard waveform. If you go for IEEE, it's different. Okay. Now, 11 kV has 28 kV power frequency and 28 kV power frequency and 70 kV impulse. 33 kV has BIL of basic insulation level of 70 kV power frequency and 170 kV impulse. 132 kV to 75 kV power frequency and 625 kV impulse. 220 kV has 625 kV power frequency and 1050 kV impulse. Okay, so that is BIL, basic insulation level. So that is given here. So that says okay for a 11 kV transformer. It has 95 on HV and on LV 10 kV. On HV 95. So that should be. He has not given whether this is the impulse or power frequency. He has given only 95 and 10. With 95, you know, it's somewhere there. Right? Impulse is 95 and impulse on LV is 10. Right? So, the nameplate, each value, what you read, has a significance. So you should know how to read it and you can get the information with that. Now with IEC terminology, okay, we'll take this one. With IEC terminology, with 11 kV transformer. In transformers, it gives us 28 AC. That means 28 kV power frequency. And it would give the impulse like this, 70 I. That is the IEC, according to IEC terminology. In many transformers, what you look at, in many nameplates what you look at, it's given as this. So I was showing this thing to one of my trainees. I don't know whether it's previous batch at CTC, Tobacco Corporation. This is the BIL. And I asked her, tell your friend also. Then after the maintenance work, what we did there, I asked the other one, what is this? So she doesn't know, and I knew that she has kept that information as Guru Mushti. Right? Okay. Just a joke. Huh? So she has forgotten me. So this is a temperature indicator, right? And this red pointer, that goes up to the maximum point and stops. Now, what happens is, the other pointer, the black pointer, it goes to the temperature pushing the red one. So ultimately, you can say this transformer has phase 90 degrees top oil temperature, right? And there are temperature indicators to give you the hot spot temperature. Hot spot temperature is inside the windings, right? And the top oil temperature and bottom oil temperature, all three, right? At the end of the lecture, we have again discussing how the temperature at the hot spot is measured, right? And we'll come to that later. So these are the temperature indicators, and these are fans on the radiator, and you have a oil pump over here, and silica gel breather, and the level gauge of the transformer oil. And every transformer doesn't have a oil pump. Some are force pumped. We'll come to that also. You call it forced oil ventilation, forced oil cooling. So now this one is a Buchholz relay. Now this particular Buchholz relay is responsible to bring me here, right? When I ask our trainees, what is a Buchholz relay? In the session of what do you call that? Patau Madavima, right? A session tikedi mahapuama, they didn't know. So ultimately, they said, okay, you give us a guest lecture about the transformers. That's how I have come here. So the Buchholz relay is responsible for bringing me here. Am I right, Venra?